Hi, I'm Trevor Conquergood. Welcome to this week's RNK Software Club's video of the week, and our topic for this week is going to be about my design album, which is of course a Floriani program that is made for organizing your digital files, mainly your embroidery files, but it works with all kinds of things. It works with photographs like JPEGs as well as any embroidery format, all of your long arm quilt formats. It works with digital artwork files like SVG. And so it really is a great way to sort things out. And we get a lot of questions about my design album. People want to know, what does it do? How does it work? And will it work for me? And we also get questions from people who have purchased it. Am I using it correctly? And so I think this will be a great video to watch. If you're thinking about my design album, you'll be able to see firsthand how it works. And if you have my design album, hopefully I can answer some of your questions. And as always, if I don't answer them all, please enter one of our support tickets and go on the Floriani forum and ask questions. But I know I'll do my best to kind of cover. So what is it good for and why do we want it, I guess, are the main questions. And essentially, I have a lot of embroidery designs, and I have taken the time to make categories in my software and put my designs into them, and because of that it makes it really easy for me to browse through my embroidery designs. I have a main area here where I can see my results. Down at the bottom I can get detailed information about whichever design that I click on. And over on the left hand side I have the categories, so I guess this is essentially where I've done all my organizing within this program. And up at the top, these are the locations of my computer, so just any folder that's anywhere on my computer, I can use this to browse my computer, and then if I like, create little favorite categories and put my designs into them and organize myself. So there's no one correct way to do the organizing, and I always like to remind people of that you may sort your things out in a completely different way from me. And in fact, right now, if you look on the bottom here where it says embroidery and there's a little negative or a minus sign beside it, and if I click on that, see, it'll kind of collapse everything. And really I've just got three main categories here: embroidery, images, and vector artwork. But that said, if I click the plus beside embroidery, I've made subcategories, right? My Floriani collections, my FTCU monthly designs. When I click on FTCU monthly designs, I only see those monthly designs. And you know from kind of collecting those designs how you open them and look at each month. Within the FTCU software, I would browse each month one at a time, right? Well, now I can browse through all of them and sort of digest, oh, this is great. I didn't know that I had this design, or that's exactly the one that I'm looking for. And whenever you find one that you like and you stop and you click on it, you can find out all the information about it, what colors are in it, what size is it, number of stitches. And probably one of the most important details is actually right here. It says, wait, this is where the design actually lives. So understand that when I added this design to my catalog and I made this category and I added it to it, that the design already was on my computer. And I simply sort of dragged it, I'll show you how to make a category, add designs into your category from the folders of your computer. And then what happens is the software essentially just learns where it lives. So it doesn't duplicate your designs. It doesn't take an exponential amount of your hard drive space. It's a database. Really, my design album is databasing software for embroidery, and that's what we're doing. And now, so to describe a little bit more, in this main area here, notice at the top where it says name and design format and keywords, and I can use those to filter. So currently I'm looking at my FTCU monthly designs category. It says there's 1,378 files, and you'll notice that there's like a JPEG. That's actually a photograph of the embroidery sample. And then a WAF, which is our Floriani embroidery format. And so that's how you can sort of see a picture of somebody's, our stitch out of the design. And then this is the actual Floriani embroidery design. If you want to open that design up, you can right click. Now, when I right click, I get all kinds of options, but the main one, if I already own the Floriani software, which obviously all of you do, then you simply say open. And it will open in your Floriani software. And so basically that's what's happening now, is this just kind of comes and that becomes the latest design to open up in, my embroidery software. And so they're really connected together. For people that don't have FTCU, it is possible. And so notice that this is the My Design Album embroidery program, or this is My Design Album, sorry, and this is FTCU, and so I've got a bunch of files open there, but this is the one that we just opened up, and so they're two separate programs that kind of work in tandem. So if you own both programs, it's really easy to kind of find something and then open it up, and then from there you can do whatever it is you planned on doing, add lettering or just put it on a USB stick or whatever. But isn't it nice, because you know how sometimes you're trying to remember which month or which year those designs were from? Well, now you can just scroll through and really get familiar with them. And when you click on something, you'll say, oh, that's right, that was from July of 2020. And that's exactly where that design really lives. So this is kind of how it works. When you first get it, it's going to have a bunch of categories. First of all, it's empty. So there aren't any embroidery designs in the software. You could use this to browse. So for example, up here on my software, I think I have a folder that has designs from my embroidery club. And so if I come and click on the folder, it's going to, show me the contents of the designs. And so those are on my computer. And so I can look at them. But notice, for example, I couldn't filter by keyword. And that's because keywords are kind of a component of adding the designs into your catalog. So up at the top is simply embroidery designs on my computer. Down below is if I want to organize them. And so right now, if I just click on the word embroidery, what happens is now I'm seeing the results of the category embroidery. And this is something that's very unique about My Design Album, because when you click on a category like embroidery, you'll see everything that's in every one of the subcategories, right? So all of the FTCU monthly designs is a subcategory of embroidery. And so what that tells me, here I've got 12,271 files, and that includes all images, artwork, embroidery designs. If these are little check boxes, which you can uncheck, so this says display image. I know there's images in the FTCU monthly designs. So when I click on FTCU monthly designs, I'm now only looking at 1,378 files, just the ones in this category. And notice this category doesn't have any subcategories, no little plus beside it. But the point here is, if I click on that, and that's a JPEG, and that's out an embroidery design, the WAF, notice up top, display image. If I uncheck that, then the software will only show the embroidery files, the WAF files, the PES files, the JEF, whatever format you choose. It can display all the embroidery formats, even the long arm quilt formats, QLI, whatever. But if you don't want to see embroidery formats and you just want to see images, you'd do the opposite, right? You would uncheck and display designs and turn on display images. And so notice that there's 673 images. And if I check back on display designs, now it goes up to 1378, because there's both kinds of images. So these are simply, up at the top are filters. I'm looking at a category that has 1,378 things in it, and if I come to the top and I use any of these things, it will just simply show me less of that 1378. So for example, keywords. So now keywords means that I've actually taken the time to tell the software what this is: a flower, a bird, a bear, I think that is. And so you type in bird. And this is a keyword that I've used on a whole bunch of different designs. And so there'll be a bird in each one of these designs. Interestingly enough, where are those little chicks? I didn't even see. So here's something back. So notice I have the word bird, and there's 26 files. Let's backspace, BIR 26, BI 29, so there must have been something else that starts with B and I. If we just go with the letter B, we get 167, so now you're getting buses and beaches and everything. And when you take out all the letters and the keywords, you're back to your full collection. But notice that this little chick right here didn't have the keyword bird in it, so it didn't come up. And so if we say edit keywords, and these are the keywords that already exist, and I'm going to put in a comma, BIRD. And so it's as easy as that. You can also, I'll do it to the picture as well. Well, those ones don't seem to have it, so I won't bother. But with so this is really where it comes up to you. But I put categories. You have to do it yourself. So it takes a little bit of time to put in all the designs into categories and add their keywords. But once you do, it's so awesome, because now if I search bird, those birds will come up along with the other birds that I've, designs that have birds in their keywords. And so this is where it can be really cool, because, you can do USA and get all your USA designs, or beach, or whatever it is. And so it's fun. Basically, the software does not have the ability to tell you that your embroidery design is a bird or a bug. You kind of have to know that, and so you're really the only key ingredient to adding those. But it's not hard to do, and there are a few things you can do it as you're adding your designs to a category. If you want to give all of the designs the same keyword, you can select on one, hold down shift and select on a whole bunch of them, and then edit the keywords of all of them at the same time. My recommendation is that you do that first, and then you add specific keywords that are unique to specific designs, because I think that sometimes when you click save, it can almost like overwrite the original keywords. And so you want to be careful when you're using the mass populating them. But the idea is you can put the word Christmas in a whole collection very quickly. So then the cool thing is when you click on the word embroidery, and so now you're looking at all of your embroidery designs from all of your collections in all of your categories that you've made. If you type out the word Christmas, you'll start to get all of your Christmas designs, whether they're from, whatever collections that you collect, Floriani, obviously, and other sources, right? And so this is kind of how it works. So that's the purpose of keywords. You don't have to use them, but they do make it better. Same thing with categories. I mean, even if you do nothing and buy my design album, it does give you the ability to browse through your computers and have icons of all embroidery formats, of all artwork formats. And so that is a benefit, right? That sometimes it's hard to find those images. Something else that my design album does is it will iconize windows. So now when you just use like your Windows File Explorer program and you look at your folders, you will see little icons for the artwork and the embroidery files. And so if I go to my desktop and then I look to like my embroidery designs, notice here how I see little icons. I've got my desktop set to display in some funky dark mode or something like that. If yours is white, then those will be white. But the idea is no longer do PES or any of those files just come up with little Fs. The software, even if you don't categorize anything, when you look through your files, Windows, it basically teaches Windows the ability to display an icon for formats like WAF or JEF or PES or EXP or DXT or all the different formats that are available to embroidery. So on that note, let's go over to the software and just take a look at what formats are available. So if I click under the Tools drop-down menu where it says Preferences, in here so it says Input Formats. This is a list of all the formats that my design album is capable of looking at or displaying, and notice the little check mark system beside them. So for example, if you're somebody who uses a specific format like maybe PES, and every time you buy a disc it's got PES, but it also has a bunch of other formats, and if you're not interested in those other formats, you can actually just uncheck them, and then my design album won't show them, won't even display them. But that is one of the most common things, and so what I want to do right now is just show show you kind of how I would use it, because I think a lot of people get it and then they're not sure where to start. And so we have pretend that my catalog is empty. In fact, when you get it, it's going to have categories like birds and bugs and butterflies, which I immediately deleted. Okay, so whatever, if there's a category here that I don't have that I want, I can right click and say add category. And so we'll just do a little one for today and I'll get rid of it later. Okay, so now I have a category called today and it's empty. There's no designs in it. When I click on it, nothing shows. If I click on FTCU workshop, there should be, well, there's nothing in there either, but there must be something in my Stitchetize collection or maybe my Floriani collections, right? Or in my, certainly in my FTCU monthly designs, we know that there's that collection of designs that we all have. And so I'll look to those. But the point is these are already in the catalog. Now I've got an empty category. How do I put things in it? So I know that on my computer, I have a folder that was my embroidery club designs from the first season of my embroidery club. And so if I click on that, it shows me the designs and it's coming up and it's going to show. And I know that in that folder, it has one copy of every design and it has only the PES format. So it's pretty organized. All on its own. I kind of organized it myself, if that makes any sense. But if there was something in there that you were like, I really want to add those butterflies to, a category, I could easily do that. We could, with a today, maybe we wanted to look at butterflies today. And so what I did was I clicked on one butterfly and it tells me the information for it. And I held down the shift key because when you hold down shift, it will select all the designs in between. This design here is showing empty. And I think that's because there's actually a flaw. It's not the software, it's me. There's something wrong with that design and I know about it. I just haven't fixed it yet. But the point is, if I want to get all of them, I start with the first one, hold down shift and click to get all of them. Now, there's a category over here called today, and what my job is to drag it from here and let go of today of there. And here's the kind of like challenge of it. Above it and below it are categories with little buttons that expand and collapse. And so if I hover over top of Trevor's Embroidery Club, it will automatically expand to show that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different like categories that were made already, and I don't want to put them there. I want to put them under today. So the first thing that's most important to know is, first of all, I've lost my selection, but I'll select them again, is that when you're adding designs to your categories, you need to be careful when you let go of them that you're in the correct spot. And so I'm just going to go back to finding the designs. So I'm not adding them from a category to a category. I'm taking them from pretend it was like a brand new design that you just downloaded and it's on your computer. And so you select them right here. Let's do the red work lady since they're just sticking right out. And I'll left click and drag. Now I'm bringing it down to across from the word today and over. Look at that. I got it right on it and let go. So it can be as easy as that, but let me show you what happens if you don't do it like that. So you bring it over and you try to hit today, but you end up hitting, oh my goodness, and once a whoa, and there, way, woohoo. Just don't let go. Okay, bring your left hand back, your mouse, keep holding the button down, bring it back over here and let go, and then nothing gets put into any categories that you didn't mean to. But that is what can happen, right? That the categories can basically expand. As you hover over them, the software will expand them. And so you kind of have to be quite specific about bringing it over top of your category and letting go. Now, I've got those ones in that, but here's what often happens. And so what I'm going to do is just look into... oh boy, let me just look on my computer for a moment and think there. So here's where normally when I do my embroidery club, there's like these monthly downloads and each one of them has all these different topics. And then inside of each one of those topics is where you get those designs from. But notice when I do it that I've got like a bunch of copies of the same design because of course I want to include all these different formats for the different, machine types. But if you own a machine that needs the PES format, what you can do right now is come up to here where it says design format and type in PES. So we're looking at a folder on my computer, right on my desktop, Trevor and Friends Embroidery Club, download 1, folk art birds designs, and we put in the format filter PES showing us that there are these 6 or 7 birds here. So we select one, hold shift down, select the other one, and we're going to put them in our today category. So we just click and drag, and like I said, I bring my mouse kind of down to across from today and then on over and in. And so we built a category. And those designs still live. So that design exists in more than one category in my collection now, okay? Because I already had them in my Trevor's Embroidery Club category. And if I would have looked through there, I would have found them, but now the format is filter. So says there's 50 files, but actually if I take that off, some of them are in other formats like Jeff or something, and that's all. So there's one copy of each design, but because I had the format filter on, some of them were hiding. So now you'll see them all. And anyway, you guys, that's kind of how it works. You could create a category, just right click. Now I can get rid of that category by just simply clicking on it. But when I get rid of that category, then those designs will no longer be in the catalog, right? Unless they're in another category. So if they've already been categorized somewhere else, you're fine. But the point is, you can delete a category, but you're not really deleting the designs, right? They're still on your computer. Don't feel that that's what's happening. So if I right click and say, I don't want this category anymore, what I'm telling the software is I no longer want to have a category called today that is telling us where these designs are. But yet if those designs were in my another category, Trevor's Embroidery Club, they'll still be in that category. We didn't delete them. We just got rid of a category. So you can make as many categories for your designs as you want and organize them based upon the companies or the people or the designers that you're collecting. Maybe make a category for your own designs, the ones that you create yourself. One of the coolest things about the program is the ability to do watch folders. That said, it's also something that has created a lot of problems for people using the software. And so why don't we take a look at this watch folders idea? You see, I've got right now under the Tools drop-down menu where it says Watch Folders. If you tell the software to watch a folder, so for example, I'm watching the free monthly designs folder. And you can watch more than one folder, whatever you want, you can just check it. But I do not recommend checking your entire hard drive or even a massive folder. So let me explain why and what it's for. So what it does is if you've got, I've been collecting these free monthly designs. Every month I get 5 more. And so I've already got most of them categorized here under free monthly designs. However, I'm watching the folder, so every time I download a new month, if I go into pending, they're going to be there. And here they are, right? Those are the January designs that were just released this month. And they've been downloaded, put into that folder that I'm watching, and so the software has added them to pending. The rest of these ones are other designs that came into pending because I'm watching other folders, which is exactly the designs that we just deleted have come there. But the ones that are, from these ones here, they're in my pending category, reminding me that I want to categorize them because they're part of my collection of free monthly designs. And so I will just left click and bring that under. Oh, got that thing expanded. So bring it back over here, collapse that again. Try again. Right there, free monthly designs. Trevor, get it right there. See, and then let go. So now I've got all those designs are now added. The rest of these ones that are impending are actually ones that I've already kind of taken out, and I'm just going to take them and then basically right click and say delete those designs, and they go to the recycle bin or whatever. And you can empty your recycle bin. Just remember, it's a database, and all you're really deleting is remembering the designs, not the designs from your computer. That is possible to do, but you need to do it in a different way if you want to do that. But you're allowed to make these categories, and that's the main part, is create the categories that you want and add the keywords that you want. And so once you've done all that, it's nice because you can scroll through and find what you want just by browsing. Oh, right, I want to look at my... And so here's an example Floriani collections. These are like the design sets that Floriani sells, and I collected a whole bunch of them. So if I click on the plus beside the word, this is how I entered them. So I want you to understand how to work, because now I've got a disk, like a CD-ROM, and you want to get them into your computer, right? And so what sometimes people do, and it doesn't work out, is they stick the DVD or the CD into their computer, and it's probably in their D drive. And so they browse up the top and they point the thing at their D drive, because anything I can look at external media, this will work with your D drive. Absolutely. But the downfall of that is if I put all these designs in from my D drive, or like from my compact disc or whatever, my USB thumb drive, wherever they're stored for you, if that's not on your computer, understand what can happen. Because right now the path to the designs is Trevor's computer, under Trevor's documents, where he's got a folder where all his embroidery designs are, right? And that's where I saved them. So first of all, I took the designs from the disk and I saved them into a folder on my computer. It's not hard to do, and I just use Windows to do that. I just drag the contents of the disk into a folder on my computer. Now that can be an external hard drive, and this works great with external hard drives, but understand what can go wrong is the path to the design needs to always be the same. So for example, right now it's C, Trevor's documents. If I move there's a folder here that's called embroidery designs. If we rename it embroidery designs old, this category will still be here, and it'll still say there's 20 designs in it. And it'll even tell me the names of the designs, but when I click on them, they will have a path that has become broken. And so you can't break your path. And so if you're doing it with like your DVD and you're sticking your DVD in and copying them into a category, when you pop the DVD out, the category will still be here, but there'll be empty designs in it. Now, I guess if you stick the DVD back in, then, the designs will all be there when you want them. But normally what I recommend is you copy the designs from your disk or from your whatever it is, download them, whatever, find a place on your computer to organize your embroidery designs, and then make a category, one collection at a time, and add those designs in. This 20 designs, I did that disk, done. Then I get the next disk, copy it to my computer. Then once it's copied to my computer, get the format that you want. You don't need all of them, because on the disk you may have had 100 designs. There might have been 10 designs with 10 formats of each. You just want your 10 of your formats. So you select those 10. Now you put them into a category, and now your embroidery collection, your cataloging, is really just your designs in your format, the one that's your preferred. Now, if you're collecting Floriani designs, of course, WAF format's your favorite, but that doesn't mean you can't have PES files alongside your WAF files or whatever format you use. And so these are all different kind of Floriani collections that I've collected. And so when I click on just this antique script letters, I just see those 26 designs. But if I click on Floriani collections, I can see these script letters alongside of all of the other Floriani. So now I'm only seeing my Floriani collection designs, because it's allowed. So this is where it's very different from just looking through Windows, because when I click on a parent category, it automatically shows me all the designs and all the subcategories. And so that's why it becomes sort of really powerful, because I can quickly find things knowing by which designer it came from. And for that matter, if I just know I'm looking for USA designs and I don't care from which designer, I just click on the top category embroidery and then use keyword USA. Type it right in, Trevor, USA, and you get your USA designs that are from whatever designer you have. And so really that's how it works. Watch out for the watch folders. I want to talk about this because I've had a few people that have watched a folder that has like 50,000 files in it. And so now their pending folder, here's the problem with that. If you watch a folder that has 10 copies of the same design, all 10 copies of that design are going to show up in pending. So I don't always recommend using watch folders to build your categories. What I'm saying is watch folders are only for people that are doing something like, if you're a digitizer and you have a folder where you always digitize your new designs into, then you can watch it and it'll always remind you to catalog them. But if you're thinking about bringing all your DVDs into a catalog like this, you're much better to do it yourself. Make the category, transfer the designs in just how I showed you, and because what happens is if you get 50,000, literally 50,000 designs in pending, it causes the software to behave very slowly. In fact, it can even cause it to freeze. If any of those 50,000 designs are corrupted in some way, the software can kind of almost like hang up. I've had this happen before. If that's happening to you, if you're finding that after you open my design album, after about a minute or 30 seconds, it just seems to start to freeze or tie out, like, become unresponsive, here's what you need to do. When you first open the software, immediately travel to Tools and Watch Folders and click on the word Clear All and OK. And that will uncheck them all, and that will cause the program to stop looking into your watching folders, because that's why it kind of gets really slow, is because it's looking and looking and looking and looking through this really large location. So it's not advisable to use like check all my embroidery designs and let it find them all, because even if it did, you'd still have to create the categories and organize them, and you'd be disappointed to find that there's like all the different formats for every single design was probably what's going to happen. So I found it very easy to do. When I did my Floriani collections, I just did it one disc at a time. And if there was, like, for example, any reason why I wanted a subcategory, so apply sets, there must have been more than one. So these are like specific discs that were for a special technique that Floriani did called apply stitch. And so those were sets that I collected. They're not even, I think they're discontinued. I'm showing you stuff that's like out of sort of sequence now, but Precious Moments, a Play in Time. These were old Floriani sets that used to go around at all the events, right? And so if you have them, you organized your stuff however you want. You might want to use keywords like redwork or applique. I can only kind of give you a few ideas. You really have to kind of think about what you own and what's the best way to organize it. But your tools are categories and keywords. Okay, that's the main thing. Sometimes we hear, I've had this happen to me, where I'll first start the program up and it looks like it's empty. And the little trick is to just uncheck display image and then you can recheck it. But if it seems to be stuck and not displaying images, try unchecking and rechecking one of these. That's been kind of a helpful kind of tip for people. What else can we talk about? Now, there's other things that the software is capable of doing that I haven't even explained to you yet. So, for example, we can, let's click on the FTCU monthly designs, maybe look up Easter, and now we have 27 files. Let's select all those files and say File and Print Catalog. I could even export it as HTML, which basically means make a digital catalog, or export as images, so basically making images. But if I do print catalog, it'll allow me to control kind of like how many designs per page by rows and columns and what details are going to get included. But when you say OK, it makes a printable catalog. And so that's kind of another feature of the program that we didn't really talk about, which is the ability to print as well. If you don't own any Floriani software at all, it is possible to right-click and say Open in your Total Quilter or My Decorative Quilter software, or Open With would allow you to choose another program. And so I know all you guys have Floriani software, and you'll just be opening your designs in the Floriani software anyway. Remember, it's just right-click, Open in Floriani, and now Floriani will open up with your latest design, whatever you asked it to open. So that's really how My Design Album works. And I hope I answered some of the questions about My Design Album today and kind of showed everybody how it works. I think I'm just wondering, looking at my sort of list I made in little things of list of things not to forget to say on here. And so I hope I helped you guys today, and I hope you enjoyed the video. So if you're interested in My Design Album, I guess you're strongly encouraged to contact your local Floriani dealer, and they'll be happy to tell you more about it. And as always, you can always contact us at RNK Distributing. So thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed the video, and bye for today. Wait, don't go. Did you go? Sorry. I just thought of something after I pushed kind of end on that video. There was one more really important feature which I failed to talk about, and that is under this Tools drop-down menu, because I talked about the watch folders, and we even kind of looked a little bit at preferences. What I didn't show you guys at all was about how you can create a backup, how you can restore a backup, and how you can create a full backup or restore a full backup, and what the difference is. So a backup means backing up the database. So it'll back up your categories, the keywords, all of the work that you basically put into organizing it. And that's going to be a very small file because it's just really a small bit of data, in a database file. And so you can create a backup, and that is great. However, if you want to move your collection to a new computer, so creating a backup is going to protect it as long as you're dealing with the same designs on the same computer. You've got your kind of like backup copy of it. But what I'm saying is a full backup will actually take all of the embroidery designs that are in your catalog and back them up with the database. And so this is going to take a little longer and be a much larger file. But that will allow you to take that one single file, move it to, install the software on a new computer and restore to that new computer, and basically transfer all of the designs along with all of the work that you put into organizing it to your brand new laptop or whatever that is. So as always, you're allowed to install this on two computers, right? Under the help drop down menu and your license activator, you get two licenses like all Floriani software. However, it's not something that's going to be networked. In other words, you get two completely separate databases. And so you could use that Tools backup option to do all the work on your laptop and then sort of take a copy over to your desktop. But I wanted to make sure that I included those things, and so I'm sorry if I scared you guys when I came back on afterwards, but most of the other stuff in here I think you'll enjoy discovering on your own, but that was kind of a major feature to not talk about. And so there are other features that if you didn't own any Floriani software that you could also enjoy. For example, if you say edit design, it does have some basic editing features. But the reality is today, if you didn't own FTCU, I'd probably say get Creative Express and have it open up in there, because it has even more features than this kind of does. But basically, this is a little editing screen that would allow you to do a slow redraw of your embroidery design, put your hoop on the screen, select the colors of your design and recolor those colors to be new colors, put a hoop on the screen, that kind of thing. And so, and then you could use this to do file and save as, and save it to any format. And so what I'm telling you is, if you don't own any other Floriani software and the only software you own is My Design Album, then you can download our latest Floriani software and install it and just register it as a Creative Suite software, which is sort of like a beginning level, which is very similar to what you see here, just with a few new updates. Either way, the real reason to get My Design Album is the ability to organize all your stuff. And if you're willing to take the time to build some categories and even assign some keywords, you will really benefit from that for years to come. And you'll probably find designs that you didn't even know you already had in your collection just by exploring them all. And so once again, thanks for listening to me today. Hope you guys are doing well, and thanks. Talk to you again later, and bye-bye.